So while we were driving today, we decided we would take a few minutes and just talk through and kind of catch everybody up um, on our process of buying the RV. We're going to kind of backtrack a little bit and give you some insight on just the way everything went all the way back from January till now.
Because this has been a process.
Yes. And so we're gonna go through the process. Towards the end of January, we went to the Tampa RV show. And that is just tons and tons and tons of RVs to look at. And that is where we pretty much decided that we liked the Jayco North Point 377 RLVH, which is
Yes.
rear living bunkhouse.
So from there, Kevin started.
We did more research and trying to find the best deal we could find. And so I scoured all over the place looking. And we ended up with a dealership in northern Indiana that had a great price. It was actually just a few miles from the manufacturer and not too terribly far from my parents, so it seemed like a okay location and had good reviews online. And so we went ahead and placed our order for the model that we wanted and with the specs that we wanted to have on it. And we placed that order on February the 18th.
Yeah, and some people have asked, why did you order instead of just getting one off of a lot? And one of the things that for us, because we knew that we were going to be living in it full time, and so there were several of the features and the upgrades that we knew that we would want to help us, have living in it full time be sustainable. I think at that point when we ordered, the custom orders were rolling off the line in just a couple of months.
So when we ordered, they actually gave us an estimated arrival date, and they were being somewhat pessimistic in their date when they gave it to us. They were telling us that we would have it by June the 18th.
But we felt like that was
We thought we would have it
very generous
beginning of May.
overestimate. So we ordered that. In our minds, we would pull the RV into our driveway and things would move from there.
That didn't happen.
And so,
Yeah.
keeping that in mind, we then sold our house at the end of March.
So my big thing with selling the house was I just wanted the girls to be able to finish school before they were uprooted. Again, that was going to be fine because the RV would be pulled into the driveway. We would be getting rid of stuff and then loading our necessary stuff right into the RV, at our leisure, and we would just move into the RV. So
If there is one thing that we have learned during this process, it's definitely that we can plan all we want, but we're not in control. And if you know me at all, you know that I like being in control. And if you know Casey at all, you know she probably likes being in control even more.
yeah. We had been told that once we got a serial number, or a VIN number, that meant that all of the parts and components for our unit were ready to go on the line. So once we got a serial number, it was only a matter of a couple weeks before our order would be ready.
Just kind of as a side note, it doesn't really have to do with the RV, but we had to order the truck as well. If you know anything about heavy duty trucks, dealerships do not order them with a seat for Caroline. So she would have been seatless, which the back of the truck doesn't seem very good, does it? So we needed her in the front seat in the cab. So to get a bench in the front seat, we had to order the truck. So that was another part of the process. It's kind of a side note, but that was also going on during this time.
We had special ordered that too. So another couple of weeks went by, and we then were close enough to our move that we had to figure out, okay, the reality was the RV wasn't going to be ready, and we needed somewhere to stay and to lay our heads down because we were quickly going to be homeless. So at that point is when we had the great blessing of a good friend's guest house that we were able to move into. So on May 24th, when we moved out of our house, we moved into the guest house, thinking maybe we'd be there a month. That the RV would be ready. You know, we were still talking to him. Kevin usually, so we figured out along the process that they, or at least this is what they told us, that they got their updates from Jayco from the factory on Mondays. On Monday afternoons. So he typically would call our dealer on Tuesday mornings. And
every Tuesday.
I was about to say, for a lot of from probably May on, he called just about every week.
And so we continued to not get very many updates. And so the next date that we were told was July 8th. July 8th began to approach and get closer, and they said it's not going to be July 8th, but we think it'll come off the line on July 14th.
Okay, so along in this process, you need to know that part of the scheduling that was happening too was July 18th was going to be our last Sunday on staff at Northside Baptist Church. And so when we heard July 8th possibly, that was okay, we can get it and be back in time, get things loaded, and because our plan was to roll out after that. And we didn't make that July 8th, obviously. They told us the 14th, and we started looking at it. Okay, we can get it back, and timeline's going to work. Again, looking at our plan and our timeline, but again, there were different plans, and
Yes.
so we didn't make the 14th either.
And so the 14th, I don't remember if it was, a couple days before or on the 14th. I believe it was on the 14th. They said, well, it hasn't come off the line yet, but it'll come off the line tomorrow.
Should be the 15th, so we're gonna say the 15th.
So the
Well,
15th,
and it wasn't, the dealer was saying this is what Jayco's information is to us, and their system is telling us now the 15th.
yes, and so the 15th approaches, and we got no updates the day of the 15th, and it was then the 16th, and we still had no updates.
So on the 16th I called, and there was obviously had been no update on the 15th, so I knew it hadn't arrived. And when they looked in the system on the 16th, Jayco's system was still telling them it would arrive on the 15th. So at that point we knew, okay, this is just, the updates aren't very accurate.
In the meantime, though, Claire, what had happened with camp?
So me and Chloe were supposed to be at camp in South Carolina, July 5th through the 9th. But because of some COVID stuff on their part, we got postponed to the 19th through the 24th.
Last Sunday had been on the 18th. The girls were going to leave on the morning of the 19th, and so our hope was still that we would get a call any day and that we could pick the girls up. I remember Chloe said, it's going to be kind of depressing if we have to ride the bus back home from camp. So the girls went to camp. They rode the bus home from camp. We still didn't have any word. They still couldn't give us a lot of detail.
All we knew at that point was that they were waiting on the generator.
Yes. So that became the story, was that they were waiting on the generator. They couldn't get their hands on the generator. So from our standpoint, what we began to believe was that the RV was sitting there built, basically, in their factory waiting on a generator. Yes, so we did get to go to the beach for a few days. And while we were at the beach, we actually got word that there was some COVID exposure on our part, and Claire actually started feeling bad. So we came home from the beach and decided we would just go quarantine at my dad's house. So while we were in Americus, I think Kevin and I had just gotten to a point of, me especially, I'm a very, I'm a doer, and so it was very hard for me to keep sitting around and waiting. It's one of the things that I'm not very good at, and sometimes that's a bad thing. Every now and then it can be a good thing.
Speaking of, while Claire and I were at Crossroads Summer Camp, the message on the first night that we were there was about waiting, and the title of the message that he did was that we hate to wait. And so, as soon as we got out, I immediately texted Mom and Daddy, and I was like, "You have to go back and watch this, or I'll send you my notes." But it was very
Timely.
and relevant to what was going on in our lives at the time.
Yes, for sure.
So,
And of course, the only live feed that didn't work well and ended up not being able to work was that night. So we didn't get to hear or see that message. But when the girls got back, they did talk us through the notes, and it was obviously very impactful. And it was just neat to hear how God had used that message.
Yes. So Kevin and I began to talk about, okay, what's our plan? Where are we sitting? What are we going to do? What is, how long are we going to wait? What is, our ministry launch date had been August 1st. We were creeping up on that. What is, so I started Googling one night just out of frustration, kind of where could I find an RV, and started Googling our model number. And interestingly enough, I happened to find several. And so I told Kevin the next day, I said, if you reach out and still don't hear anything, I said, I'm just curious. And so,
one detail we left out in this process, because it got pushed back further and further, it became a 2022.
yeah.
We ordered a 2021, and in the process, they were going to be finished running their 2021 models. Ours was going to be a 2022. So now we're looking at, okay, we ordered in February. So my thought is, goodness, we're going to have the first 2022 to ever roll off the assembly line. One would have thought. Well, as she began Googling and searching the internet, she was finding that a lot of places had 2022s. And I was like, okay, well, they must have had them, but not had generators.
So
That wasn't the case.
So I happened to find a dealership in Alabama and in Chattanooga. And so the next morning, I just called, hey, do you have, I'm looking, this is what I'm looking for. And the guy in Alabama was the first call I made. And he said, oh man, I had 3 of those on my lot last week. One had a generator, one was prep for a generator, and one was not. And he said, I think the one with the generator and the prep have both sold. Let me check. And at that point, I was like, that's kind of fishy. So I called the second dealership in Chattanooga, and she had I forget, several of the units on her lot as well. And she said, she told me, as I kind of told her briefly our story, she said, we've been getting these regularly. I just don't understand why they're telling you that. So it was interesting, though, research for Kevin and I to find out that, okay, these units are coming, they're getting to dealerships, they're getting to lots, and it definitely at that point made us very much question what we were being told from our order.
Yeah, from our order. And you have to realize, in this process too, our dealership had communicated with us from the beginning. You order this, and it is what it is. That's the price. It's set. You don't pay any more than what you agree to. We got a call in this process somewhere. I don't remember exactly where.
I think it was May-ish.
It was May. And Jayco had several price increases during the process. If you know anything about the construction industry, the manufacturing industry, everyone was experiencing price increases, and we knew that. But it was monthly. There was being 2% and 3% price increases monthly from Jayco, and so we got a call somewhere in the process that they were going to have to pass some of that along to us, and we negotiated a little bit. And while we understood, we knew that we had signed for one price, but we were understanding. We didn't feel like they should have to absorb all that, but talked to Jayco. The rep was going to give us a little bit of a credit and to help out with it. So we were still good with the deal, but there was going to be a price increase. And so we knew that. We knew that the value of the RV that we had ordered had skyrocketed. And what we began to feel like was the dealership was seeing possibly far higher profit margins on our unit by selling it to someone at current day prices than what we had, honoring the contract that we had agreed to. We have no proof that that's the case, but
it's certainly started to make us think that that was
right.
playing a part. That, at this point we are far beyond, or weeks beyond the original June 18th promise date. In the meantime, I talked to this girl in Chattanooga. She said she could probably get us someone by the end of the month. She was super helpful. She and I had left it that evening that she was going to check with her regional manager and just make sure that was the best she could do. She kind of knew where we were, and we were going to talk back.
So at this point, we still hadn't communicated with our dealer. So we had no way to communicate with them until Monday. And so on Monday, my hope was that when I called for the update, that we would get the update that it was ready, that we could come pick it up, and that they had finally gotten it finished. And when I made the call, that was not the case. And so I began to ask a few questions, just what the process would look like if we needed to go a different route. We really felt like during this process that we were being protected from that dealership for some reason. Maybe it's proximity to where our home base is. Maybe it's the ability to get service done if we needed it up there. I really don't know why we were being protected from that, but we really began to sense through just praying through the whole process. We felt like this was the time to go ahead and pull the trigger and make a change, make a switch.
So that was Monday afternoon that we canceled.
We joke a little bit. We've been able to laugh during this process, cry a little, but laugh also. We joke that they probably had a party, or sent out a group text and woohoo, we finally wore them down. Or I don't really know. That's all joking, but we don't know the reality of the situation that took place there at that dealer, and whether it was a Jayco issue or a dealership issue. All we know is it wasn't happening at that dealership, and so we jumped ship there and headed a different direction.
So we secured everything in Chattanooga with Abby on Saturday. We canceled all of that order on Monday, and
Tuesday we got word from Abby that all the parts had arrived, and all the parts that we needed to add to this unit to make it like we wanted, and she gave us a pickup date of August 13th, so the upcoming Friday.
Yep. So that was on Tuesday. She said we could pick it up on Friday. So we kind of kicked into gear and made a plan for how the rest of the week and weekend we're going to go. So Claire, what did we decide? Who was doing what?
We decided that me and Chloe and Daddy were going to go and pick up the RV while Mama and Caitlin and Caroline stayed in Tifton to kind of get our stuff all packed up and tie up the loose ends so that we were ready to pack it up whenever we got back.
Yeah. On Thursday, we got Kevin and Chloe and Claire all packed up, and they took off to go spend the night in Chattanooga because the pickup appointment was for Friday morning at 9 a.m.
So that was Thursday. The day before we left, we took all of our stuff and loaded it into the foyer at the church. As kind of the setup location. That way, when we got it back, we could load it right up and be able to get things in. And so that was our plan there. So we took off on Thursday and drove up near Chattanooga.
All right, me, Chloe, and Claire are about to load up. We are headed north to pick up the RV. The day has finally come, and we get to finally get our RV. We are so excited. We can't wait to get it and be back. We should be back in about 25 hours, and I know they will be anxiously awaiting our arrival. So come along for the journey.
right, we just sent them off to go get the RV. So that was team 1 and we're team 2. So what are our
Maybe
jobs?
are we team?
Our
We-
jobs
we
are
can be team
We can
1.
team 1.
Yeah. So what are our jobs while they're gone?
get the guest house finished and cleaned up, right?
Yep.
And then this is our storage unit for now.
So we about have all this organized. We're gonna do a little more work on it tomorrow probably.
This is
And then what else? We've got several errands that we've got to run. So
This
one
is
of the things
the
we've
church
got-
foyer we've turned into our storage unit
Yes.
for today.
So anyway, we are about to go finish up at the guest house so that we can call that done. And then we've got some errands to run tonight and tomorrow to finish up a few things and be ready for their return. So stay tuned.
With the RV.
All right.
Okay. Now, tell me again. This way?
That we are seeing mostly the ceiling.
The ceiling.
Yeah, that's good.
Right there?
Leave it.
Perfect?
Yes.
Okay.
And by perfect, you mean good enough. How is that, Claire? Is it perfect?
That's great, don't you think?
Yes, that's good. Okay.
We also have a 1 minute 23 seconds.
All right, so we're almost.
Saw
are
some
now-
good angles of me holding it like this.
To give you an idea, we got on the interstate at exit 64, and now we're at exit 84. It took us 20 exits to get the GoPro mounted. So we're learning. We'll get better.
And this is why I need to learn to drive, so that I
Yes.
don't have to do that.
Or I'll just sit in front next time.
That will work too. Anyways.
So we are headed north. We are going all the way up to Ringgold, Georgia, and that is where we finally get to take possession tomorrow morning of our new RV.
Yes, we're very excited. Felt like this day was never going to come. But it's here tomorrow.
Yes,
And we don't have to drive all the way to Indiana.
We'll
that
get
is a
it.
positive.
Okay, so we pulled out a good while ago. It's now 3:21. We spent a good at least 10 minutes, if not more, trying to
We already
mount
said
the
that.
camera. So, it is. What is the date? 1 second, let me look. It is August 12th, Thursday, August 12th, and we are driving. We're going to spend the night so that we don't have to get up super early in the morning because our appointment to pick up the RV is at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. What?
Pretty sure that truck just blew a tire.
Ooh.
Fun.
Which one? The one with that big old blue thing on it?
Semi. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
And like they said, got a hotel there that night. It was kind of an interesting story. Chloe, tell about when we went to try and go to dinner.
Well, you'll see all the footage, but we, the reason we picked to stay where we did, it was a good 15-20 minutes away from the dealership, but we chose to stay there just because we felt like it was a little bit of a safer area. We quickly realized maybe that wasn't exactly the case.
It added a little excitement to the trip.
Yes, it was something interesting. Okay, we don't exactly know what happened, but there are tons of cop cars over here at the Hamilton Place Mall. See, there's some caution tape up here.
the caution tape is everywhere. I don't think people can get in the mall.
I know, like, the caution tape goes all the way from over here, all the way around to over there. There's an ambulance, a fire
I
truck.
think there's all the cops in a meeting.
Oh, and there's a bunch of people crowded around over there.
My goodness, this cop right here has got a AK-47.
So, Daddy just pulled over, asked some guys what happened. They said
Party foul.
they said that they worked in the mall and that there was a shooting right outside, and that they were stuck for like 2 hours in there, can't get a hold of any cops, and that they've like closed down the whole mall.
It is.
That was just a little embarrassing to film those dudes, but Daddy said I should have kept it rolling, so I'm very sorry.
Claire said I should have kept it rolling too.
What? When did I say that?
I'll be right back.
Don't put words in my
You
mouth.
said that's the kind of thing you get a video.
My daddy said that.
We're learning, but I was too embarrassed, so I cut it off.
No, I was covering up with a blanket. I said,
Yeah, she just hid in the back. But Daddy's
It's
gonna
a
be
black
nosy
hole,
like
there's
that.
no
We could have just watched it on the news later, probably. But she decided we should probably just ask somebody.
me.
No, he decided.
Oh,
Daddy
I thought
did.
you said she. I was like, I did not decide.
No,
nothing.
Daddy decided we should just ask.
Now he's.
We will update you if the restaurant is open and what we hear about, if we hear anything else about a shooting that was literally outside this mall.
Alright, so this afternoon, just before 6 p.m., Chattanooga Police began receiving calls of the shooting inside Hamilton Place Mall. Obviously, our officers began responding immediately to that. We're on scene rather quickly, and we're able to confirm that some gunfire had been exchanged.
So the restaurant was indeed not open. Everything at that mall is closed, and that was part of the mall. So, are we driving to the Local Goat?
We are headed to the Goat.
The Local Goat is a restaurant that they have up in Tennessee, in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. That restaurant is one of the ones that we really like. Hold on, we're coming by some more.
But we'll put it up a little higher.
Oh wait, let's do this one. There we go. I feel kind of rude videoing these people, but
It's news, babe.
I feel like probably everybody is.
He had an AK-47 as well.
Holy cow. Well,
But they were just like sitting around.
Well, they're done, babe.
yeah. They said they've been locked down for 2 hours. This happened a while ago. Okay, so we realized that we never updated yet after telling you where we were going to dinner last night. So this is where we stayed, and we are getting ready to head out and go pick up the RV. So we're very excited. I'm loading up all my stuff in my book bag so that we can head out.
You excited, Claire?
Yeah.
Claire's a little sleepy this morning.
Still waking up.
She's the only one that slept all night.
All right, so we filled up with gas. We grabbed some drinks and some breakfast in the Circle K. And we are pulling up to the RV center, ready to pick up our new rig. It is 8:45. Our appointment is at 9. If you know anything about this family, you know that that is out of the ordinary, I guess you could say.
Rare occasion.
So we are all very excited, so we are up and going.
Coming on.
This is our intended use acknowledgement. So again, just one of those legal forms where a lawyer had to come up with some reasons to get in people's business. So it basically says you're not planning to use this as like a straw purchase. You guys are cash buyers. You don't have a lien holder, so I'm not really concerned about it.
Yeah.
So
Mama said before we leave she wants to meet Abby, so FaceTime her.
okay, that's fine.
Here we are. I can't.
Hey.
Oh, it's Abby! Oh, Abby!
Hi. How are you?
Good.
Good.
I had to FaceTime you so I could at least tell you hello.
That's what she was telling me. So it's nice to meet you.
Yes, you too.
Good
Thank you
too.
again for everything you've done.
Yes, ma'am. You are very welcome. I hope y'all have a great time in it and make lots of memories.
Somebody else coming through?
No. There she is.
So they picked up the RV on Friday morning and headed back south with it, while Caitlin and Caroline and I finished up getting some stuff settled and situated and ready for them. We were super excited. We were out front waiting on them to come in, and it was a weird feeling because it was something we had all waited for so long, and it was actually happening.
It's gigantic. Oh my god. Oh, Daddy. Oh, that's a big old turd.
Oh, that is a big turn. Oh my goodness. I have to
get over here so I can see.
Come right here so you can see. Look.
Then I'll be.
See?
Who's just pulling on that side?
Yep, here it comes. He's gonna make that look. I don't know where the drone is.
I don't either. Oh, there it is. It might
Do
be.
you see it?
Yeah, it's right there.
Oh, there it is. There's the drone following him in.
Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, he just needs to lower the hitch.
My cheeks hurt. Can't stop smiling. Look, look, look. There we go. Look. It's so pretty. Oh, no, it's so silly. Look how big it is. It's huge. We're going to leave you at Friday evening as we rolled into town. And we then will spend the next few days moving in.